What is up? Happy Thursday. We are 2 weeks from the NFL season beginning. What better time to be drafting? Let's jump in. We're going to do a DraftKings $10 Millie Maker. We're taking down that $1 million first prize. We're going to have some fun. Let's go. What is up? What is up? Happy Thursday. This is a special edition. This isn't going to the podcast network. This is just for you watching on Twitter, on YouTube. We're going to be doing a live draft. We are jumping in. If you are interested in joining, head on over to the DraftKings lobby. I'm sharing my screen right now. I'm going to hop on in. Let's see. NFL. So many contests are popping up because, as we said, 2 weeks away from the regular season, we are close to actually starting to talk about DFS. We're going to be talking Reignmakers. We're going to be talking all that. But for right now, let's jump on in. All right, entering this draft. Come join us if you are hanging out. Would love to have. We got 10 of 12, 2 more spots. Maybe you guys already beat me to it. But yeah, I think if you are just tuning in, if this is your first time catching up, I did a podcast, our first one for the actual DraftKings football show earlier this week. And I think it was Tuesday, maybe. And it hit the podcast channels. I talked through my best ball exposure, top 5 guys that I've been drafting. I talked through some of the injury aspects, the running back situation. So highly recommend checking that out. And if you do, hit that subscribe button in the podcast feeds, or if you're watching on YouTube. If you are on Twitter, I don't know, just say hey, leave a comment, leave a reply on the tweets or something, give this a retweet, or come over to the YouTube channel, or hanging out. But love to have you guys here. We are in the 2 spot on the draft board. Let's see if we see any familiar names. I don't know. This is a fairly new room from what I'm seeing. Just got off of a stream over on the ETR channel doing a best ball for Underdog, and we're starting to see some wonkiness, some craziness happening in the streets. Daniel Jones went in the 5th round, unstacked, uncorrelated. You just got to go grab your guys. We ended up getting Joe Burrow, I think about a round past ADP, as well as Deshaun Watson, 2 rounds past ADP. So in general, like, this is the time where I think, one, there's value to drafting from a purely advanced rate standpoint, because this is when there are the most casuals that are just kind of getting the hang of things for fantasy football. They've got their home league drafts happening. They're thinking about maybe entering a couple DFS contests. Maybe there's been some promos from DraftKings where they're like, I got this $10 ticket that I earned from playing preseason or something. Let me jump in, not knowing too much about best ball. But for the majority of people kind of who are listening to this, who have been hanging out all summer, you've been drafting, you understand kind of the ins and outs. This is where there is the most value. Jefferson goes first overall. We'll grab Jamar Chase. No surprise there. But what I think is worth noting, and kind of what we saw in that most recent draft I just did, is that you're going to get some snipes. You're going to get some reaches. You're going to get some craziness. Now, across an entire draft, we like that because we get ADP value, we get better teams, we have a better chance of advancing. Those are all the positives. But it's quite frustrating when you're building a team, you're planning on this QB to fall to you at their ADP, and then they get sniped. So what do we do about that? My thought is during this time of drafting, we need to be a little more okay with maybe reaching a little bit for our quarterbacks in our stack situations. Now, yes, Justin, you're telling me that we shouldn't ever be reaching. We shouldn't be reaching much. ADP is so important. Agreed. But in this scenario, stacking is also very important. And just maybe take your stack, and I have a strong feeling you're going to find falling value elsewhere, because in these rooms, people are reaching. There is that wonkiness. We can find ADP value at other positions, but make sure you get that stack. And especially in a tournament like this, where we've got a little time before we come back. So let's go to the contest details and we can talk through what this tournament looks like. Do we not have it here? Do I got to go all the way to the home page? I may have to. We got time. We'll open a new tab right here and take a look at the homepage for the NFL for this tournament. So for this $10 tournament, here are your prizes. We'll go back to the prizes in a second. I'm struggling to find the information I'm looking for on here because in the app it shows up right here, but we're just trying to find out advance rate and such. It doesn't show. If you're in chat and you know where this is, let me know. But I can just kind of say it here where for these payouts, it's about I'm so confused. Sorry about this. Why can we not find? Okay, here we go. We're in the right contest. So here we go. Round 4 is a 1,364 player field. This right here is why it is so important for us to still be focused on our stacking. No, we do not want to give up substantial ADP to get there, but just knowing that best case scenario from the first, 16 weeks is for us to advance that final round. We then have to beat out 1,364. If we have an uncorrelated team in this structure, it is not giving ourselves a good chance. And I mean, hey, if we look at what the payouts are for those 1,364, that's where I need to come back to this and look at the payout screen. Okay. Oh, I don't understand why this is so hard, but it is what it is. Round 4. There we go. We can see first prize is that $1 million up top. And if we go down to 1,364th place, it's $500. And so that's where, yes, $500 is obviously still nice. You're turning $10 into $500, but obviously if you're making it there, we are hoping for these top payouts, and kind of top 10 is 100K. It's a very flat structure, which I really like. But to finish top 10 out of 1,364, that's still finishing in the top 0.1%. Top 1%. 1,364, top 13 would be 1%. So still finishing in the top 1%. To do that, we have to be heavily stacked. Okay. Coming back around, board is here. How we are doing, if you're hanging out, give me a hello in chat. I don't think if any of you are in this draft too, let me know. We can follow along as we go through. Let's get a quick recap here. So Buckeye in the 11 spot goes AJ Brown and then Jalen Hurts. Bit of a reach, but getting a unique stack. We normally see Jalen Hurts being stacked with Devonta Smith. Not the most shocking. Travis Kelce goes 3rd overall, and then he misses out in the Patrick Mahomes as an auto drafter. Smoke these nuts. Yep, that's the name. Ended up with the Mahomes here for the Tyreek Hill. We've got a couple. Tony Pollard going 6th overall. That's expensive. That is quite early. We see Eckler fall to 9. That's some nice value. Let's take a look at what we're working with here. We went Jamar Chase. I'm going to take Jalen Waddle here. Just a nice little value for our rankings. And then we'll see whether or not kind of T. Higgins can fall back to us to get that Cincy full stack going. All 3 elite QBs went before us, so not too much consideration there. Devonta Smith, Calvin Ridley. Okay, this works out really well. We grabbed T. Higgins. So not only do we grab the kind of Chase and Higgins, which is pretty popular, we ended up getting a unique piece of Waddle being mixed in there. And so most likely we should be able to get Joe Burrow in this 411 spot, assuming there's not someone who takes that snipe. It's always possible. But now not only are we getting, a highly correlated stack with the 2 Bengals, the downside of it usually is it's so highly owned, but we're unique with a Waddle component to it because most of them are Chase Higgins, and then you're combining with, someone a bit later than Waddle. All right. For our Burrow hopes as well, this is pretty promising because if we look at the ADP of Burrow, it is 47.3. I believe this is actually the 47th pick, but that means if someone was to grab him, they're either reaching on Burrow substantially, or as we get closer to ADP, it's someone who already has an elite QB, so less likely. So I feel pretty good about Burrow falling back to us. And then lots of kind of Kansas City counterparts that we can have for the bring back later on. James PJ here, going 3 straight running backs: Tony Pollard, Derrick Henry, Josh Jacobs. Pollard, and I mean, the positive around it is it's a very unique combination, because all draft season, Pollard has been going in the second, maybe early third, but mainly second. Henry's been kind of a late second. So there are not going to be many teams that have this as their starting point. So for that angle, I like it. If you're trying to get a little unique, and this is kind of a tournament where it makes sense to get unique, I don't love that grabbing Josh Jacobs as the third, though. You're just already so heavily invested in the running back position. You're kind of locking yourself in that if there's falling running back value later on, you can't really take it because you've invested so heavily early here. So that's probably, while I don't mind grabbing Josh Jacobs here, especially like if I expect that he is going to be returning and ending the holdout, but I don't think I want to do it when I grab 2 running backs to start off. Okay. Herbert, Fields, QBs are going early. Herbert stacks with Keenan Allen there. Fields is just kind of by himself. I think this one's about ADP. Maybe that's a little bit of a reach. What is that, pick 40? And Herbert's kind of like mid 40s. That show drafted. Yeah, he's 50. So that's definitely a reach, but he wanted to make sure he got his guy. I don't hate it. DJ Moore, auto drafter here, goes with the Judy. Obviously, unfortunate there with the Judy news today. I think for ETR projections, we're discounting 2 games, but it may be like a 2 to 4 game injury. Hopefully not lingering. Worth keeping an eye on. And Burrow does fall to us. We like that. Not going to take a chance on any kind of craziness with Moweed here since he doesn't have a QB. So I'm just going to grab Burrow and we can figure out our next best decision after that. Hopefully it's Hopkins. I would love for Hopkins to fall. Hopkins falls. You can see we have him ranked in the 30s. His ADP is 43. This is a substantial value on both accounts. And look at this. Trevor Lawrence goes quite early to get the Calvin Ridley stack, and then James Cook going 5.1. Insane how much James Cook has climbed up the board. We're going to draft DeAndre Hopkins. It may not be the sexiest, but getting DeAndre Hopkins as wide receiver 4 with Joe Burrow already on the board. Yeah, I love this start that we've got going. Yeah, pretty happy with it. What I saw when I was looking at my teams from last year, because unfortunately we don't get publicly available data from DraftKings with their best ball lineups like we do for other sites. So we kind of just gotta work with what we have for other sites to kind of project out what we think would happen with the different scoring settings, with the 20-man rosters, with the PPR setting and such. But just from like a more anecdotal looking at my lineups and such, was definitely clearly noticing that the teams that I went very heavy on wide receiver early on, those ones almost always look substantially better. My team that almost won the Millionaire Maker 2 years ago, the one that was in first going into the night games, finished 4th for 100K, was heavily on that early wide receiver, late running back strategy. Darrell Henderson. No, who was it? Oh, wow. I am blanking. Chiefs running backs 2021. Darrell Williams. I was like, Darrell Henderson, not Darrell Henderson. Darrell Williams was my core bring back of my Cincy stack there. He had like a 20-some point game on DK scoring. Was a late counterpiece. Rashad Penny was my other running back who had a huge game, huge ending to that season. And then just went kind of really strong at wide receiver throughout. So that seems to be my general go-to strategy on DK versus underdog. And I do think there are just some still like solid running back values that you can get in the 8th, 9th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th range. Okay. Keeping an eye for other wonkiness, things that leveled out a bit. The TJ Hawkinson fall is quite real. Interesting to see what was been happening with him. He initially had an ear infection that had him out for a couple weeks. Ear infection cleared up. Now he's got some back issues. Sounds like a case of kind of contractitis, a bit of a hold in. We'll see, like, hey, can he help reset the tight end market? How much is he willing to kind of hold out? Can it go into the season? I don't know. I've got a good amount of Hawkinson. I'm really bullish on him. I'm bullish on the entire Minnesota offense. Like, I think probably one of the teams that I've got I've got a ton of across from Jordan Addison, some Madison, obviously as much Justin Jefferson as possible. But if Hawkinson holds out, it could be an interesting situation unfolds. Maybe Addison gets a nice little bump early on. I think they'll find a way to get TJ Hawkinson to get that worked out, though. Okay. No one has a second QB yet. No one went 2 tight ends, so no craziness there. Even the teams that started off kind of running back heavy have kind of adjusted to a wide receiver one. So overall, like, seems like a fairly not too casual, not too fishy of a room. Okay, we got Chris Godwin as our clear best value. We're reaching on any running back. Could go George Kittle. What is this? Pick 71. Let's grab George Kittle. We're going to grab Kittle. I don't normally grab that much Kittle, but we've already invested so heavily at the wide receiver that, like, the marginal value that Chris Godwin gave me over George Kittle was enough. And now I'm still going to end up with Chris Godwin here. We are going true zero RB. We've got like a tier 2 quarterback, a tier 2 tight end, maybe tier 3 tight end, and a ton of wide receivers that we love. So this is going to be a fun team. We're going to have to pretty hammer the running back position, probably starting with the next pick and go into the next like 3 or 4 rounds. But I'm pretty happy with how this team is looking so far. Also, for anyone out there, we've got 2 weeks left until the regular season. Other stuff going around the DraftKings. I've started kind of looking at the salaries and stuff. I'll have the DraftKings show back in the podcast feed next week, and we'll start actually looking ahead to the regular season. We'll probably do a little more reviewing of best ball and such. For anyone that is playing Reignmakers or is interested in the Reignmaker side of things for DraftKings, OTM, we just launched our free tools to help you out there. I can do a little preview of those right after this draft, but things that kind of like, account valuation, lineup builder, market, sniper to help you find deals, all of those things that'll make your kind of help you with that Reignmakers experience. And again, they're all going to be free thanks to our partnership with DraftKings. They'll be free for the remaining of the 2023 NFL season. We'll see. Maybe we start that. We considered at one point like making best ball tools, but there's already some really good ones out on the market. FantasyLife.com does a great job, and those are completely free. So something that we considered, but figured just weren't able to add substantial value compared to what was available in the market, so it wasn't worth the time. But we're going to continue to expand our tooling, our tool set, especially in the Reignmaker side of things, and we'll see what goes on from there. Okay, 4 running backs over here for Johnny. Running backs, definitely a very running back heavy room. Still haven't seen anyone go for their second tight end or their second quarterback. Pretty balanced as well, I would say. Get like 3 QBs, 4 wide receivers, 3 wide receivers, 3 running backs. Feels kind of most teams going kind of a bit of a streaky aspect. Cooper Kupp, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers. We'll see what we can still put together at the running back position. Isaiah Pacheco goes here at 8-1. What is that? That is pick 85. I think it's a little high for him. I think his ADP is like 90. Yeah, 90.8. I would have been happy with getting Pacheco here as the bring back for our Cincy, as well as a position of need at the running back position, but wasn't meant to be. Taking a look at other running backs, we've hit that bit of an ugly area with the running backs, but we need them. That's the downside. You could have made an argument that like we should have grabbed a running back here instead of Godwin, but I think Godwin makes sense. I think like, hey, having that fifth wide receiver is not a bad thing. We're going to be starting 4 wide receivers almost every week in this PPR structure. So nothing wrong with having 5 and the type of upside that Kittle gives us. Okay, Deshaun Watson falling. We don't need another quarterback. We don't need another tight end. There's running back. There's wide receivers I like, but I think no, we just got to go pretty heavy on the running back position here. Okay, Khalil Herbert is definitely interesting. Some reports out there today that, hey, Deonta Foreman may actually be a potential cut candidate. I'm just a little scared of Jonathan Taylor going there. I don't love it. We're going to grab AJ Gibson. I couldn't pull the trigger. I think there is a little Jonathan Taylor risk there. If he falls back to me, I probably take him. But I think I like Gibson just a little more. Let's see what else we have. There's also Brian Robinson. We could just go for the Washington backfield here. I really don't hate that. Let's see. We're going to go with Herbert and hope that Jonathan Taylor doesn't get there. Get a bit of an ADP value, even though he has been moving up the boards. But position of need, I think it just makes a lot of sense. We're going to keep hammering some running backs here. We need to, but don't hate how it's going. What's up, Vincent? How's it going? Welcome. We're just hanging out. We're doing some DraftKings Best Ball drafting. Putting a fun team together right now. Anyone else that's out there, appreciate you joining us. We're just kind of hanging out. Casual Thursday, keeping the good vibes going as we draft. I personally have, there we go. While we're doing this, I can do a little multitasking and figure out a new update on how many drafts I've done, because I know I got asked that earlier today. But latest I had was in the low 900s. I've got to imagine that I surpassed 1,000. I still have probably about 75 to 100 earmarked to finish for the rest of the next 2 weeks. Goals, definitely maxing out the BBM. I think I've got about 15 more there. Been doing a bunch of the 555s. So I'll be maxing out, or ideally maxing out the drafters. Sounds like a ton of overlay over there. And then on DraftKings, this $10 one, it's going to be difficult. I think I still need about 30 to 40 more, but it's such a good contest, such a good payout structure. If I can get the time, I definitely want to, but that's how we get to do it. I actually considered like doing a multitasking draft here and doing some multiple at the same time, but I don't know how good of a stream experience that is. It feels kind of just a bit scattered, maybe. Okay. Let's keep going. Let's do a quick refresher on what's going on in the draft. So Moleweed grabbed his second QB. Kirk Cousins makes sense for the Justin Jefferson. Judicator here goes his second QB for the DK Metcalf and Geno. Josh Allen and Geno's. It's a lot of draft capital at the quarterback position, but I get it with how much he's going for this Seattle Pitt game, so I don't hate it. Smoke these nuts. The auto drafter gets that falling Deshaun Watson value to go with his Mahomes and his Mark Andrews and his Tyreek Hill. Just a bit scattered, but that's what happens when you auto draft. James PJ, after those 3 running backs we talked about, has gone only wide receivers, 6 straight wide receivers. Let's see. He doesn't have Geno. He's going to be, if he doesn't get QB here, he's okay. Anthony Richardson there. I like that. I like what he's done with that Anthony Richardson because doesn't really have many stack options here. So that's a solid play there. Looking elsewhere, Johnny B goes double tap at the quarterback position. Dak and Goff playing for that Detroit-Dallas game stack. Pretty common build from the 12 position. Doesn't mean it's bad. All right, running backs, A.J. Dillon, falling value. Absolutely love that one. That's one where, hit it, take it to the podium, run, love it. We still need to stay on the running back train, but I'm going to take a look to see if there's something else that we want to keep an eye on. Who should our QB2 be? We've got Burrow. We could go Tannehill. We could go Baker. Don't love either of those. Purdy makes a good amount of sense with the Kittle. That's probably the one I'll have my eye on if it can work out. HN goes right there. That's a bit early with the latest news. Jalen Warren's a nice piece here. Yeah, I think Jalen Warren works well. Get some standalone value. We know he's going to be playing. We know he's going to be catching passes. And then if something were to happen, Najee gets hurt, Jalen Warren just turns into a great play. I also think Jalen Warren is a better football player. All the next-gen metrics from last year showed that Jalen Warren was just straight up better than Najee Harris. Not expecting him to overtake him without an injury because the coaching staff has dug their heels in. Najee also obviously has far more draft capital, but that's okay. We've got a 1-4-5-1 build. We'll keep going with the rest of the teams that we were catching up on to see how things are coming to fruition. James, I think Richardson grabs Romeo. Romeo's been skyrocketing up the draft boards because it just sounds like he continues to have kind of rapport with Jordan Love. He's being used in 2 wide receiver sets. I think the gap between him and Jaden Reed is far, far, far greater than it should be. And I think Jaden Reed probably has a very good chance of ending the year in 2 wide receiver sets, has the better draft capital, 2nd rounder versus Romeo Dobbs is a 4th rounder. Romeo last year actually wasn't even that great on the field. There's just not that much competition for Jaden Reed just to have to pass to elevate kind of as that number 2 next to Christian Watson. And so I think it happens. I think it happens sooner rather than later. And Jaden Reed is going 5-6 rounds later. It's insane. All right, Nate over here goes 2 tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, Tyler Higbee. Neither of Dalton Kincaid is not stacked. Tyler Higbee, he could grab some Stafford later on, but seems like it's more of just kind of a best player available strategy going on there. He did grab Diggs earlier too. Buckeye here with his 2nd QB. Johnny just continuing that Dallas-Detroit, just eating up as many pieces as possible of that Dallas-Detroit. Wouldn't be shocked if he grabs like a Michael Gallup as well. Oh, he goes Jameson Williams. We'll see if Michael Gallup falls to him later on at 153. I could see him drafting Michael Gallup, and that's in that 13-12 spot. Okay. We talked about getting some KC pieces as a bring back. Jarek would have been really nice here, but went the pick before us. I think it was more important to grab another running back than grab a luxury pick as a 6th wide receiver just for the bring back. MVS goes there. We are running out of Chiefs. Okay, guess I can't do that. Yeah, running out of Chiefs to kind of pair back with, but maybe they were just not going to have a KC bring back. Maybe CEH at the very end or something. Derek Carr goes. He's got Michael Thomas for that stack. Ooh, okay. I missed this one earlier. That's the auto drafter. Grabs his 3rd QB in Aaron Rodgers. It is worth kind of keeping track of what the auto drafters are doing in your draft, because if they end up going heavy on one position or another, it does have a little of a snowball effect. So you want to make sure, like, hey, if they grab 4 QBs, others might start fighting for QBs. You don't want to potentially miss out. Rashad Penny, even though I'm a little concerned about what his role is going to be, we're getting him at pick 143. That's pretty strong value on a position that we're still trying to kind of keep hammering. So I love that. I am keeping an eye out for these others. But another note with regards to kind of getting your second and or third QB in a situation like this is when you have Joe Burrow and you have him double stacked, we're just so heavily dependent on the success of that Cincinnati pass game offense. And so yes, like we definitely want to have at least another quarterback for Joe Burrow, but we're really playing for like, hey, if this is week 17, Joe Burrow's going to be our quarterback. Like, either he's not going to be our highest scoring quarterback or we're not going to do well. Because if Joe Burrow only puts up like a 25-point game, it's highly unlikely Jamar Chase and T. Higgins put up enough for us to win that 1,354, whatever it was, person field. We're really counting on Joe Burrow having that 30-plus point game, Chase and Higgins both having strong enough games that they've each got a touchdown and substantial yards. Like, that's what this team is counting on. And so in that situation, our other quarterback really doesn't matter. We want our other quarterback to help us kind of get to that week 17, whether it's helping in advance rate, whether it's helping in one of those kind of other playoff weeks. But I don't want to expend too much capital when I'm like, hey, playing with the mindset of week 17, Burrow's our QB. Let's focus on putting as many quality pieces around him in the event that Burrow goes off for a 30-plus point game and Chase and Higgins are also the primary recipients. We'll keep an eye on Irv Smith just as a third piece of that offense, but I don't think it's a necessary piece because we've already invested so heavily in the Chase and Higgins. So I'm keeping it there just for our eyes. We've already 166, so it would be a tiny bit of ADP value, not substantially, but I'm not saying that we need to grab that. I'm still keeping an eye. The running backs have really fallen off the board from where, hey, we just got Tank Bigsby at the last one, and now the best available is 30, 40 ADP spots later with Devin Singletary and Jeff Wilson. So ugly, but I'm glad we got ours. Well, we have 6 running backs right now: Antonio Gibson, Khalil Herbert, A.J. Dillon, Jalen Warren, Rashad Penny, Tank Bigsby. Feel pretty good about what we were to put together in those rounds 8 to 13. Maybe we do actually give a pause at the running back position and look elsewhere now. Okay. We could go Kenny Pickett as our second quarterback. We have the Jalen Warren aspect. Again, we could also just keep waiting a bit. Wide receiver. Oof. He did not grab Michael Gallup. I expected him to, but he went Spears and Chig for a little Tennessee correlation. Okay. For us, what are we thinking? Wide receivers. DJ Chark had that little injury. Gallup is some fallen value. I do love me some Jaden Reed. I've been talking up. This is a really sweet spot for wide receivers. I feel like I'm going to queue up Kenny Pickett as well. Just for that kind of Jalen Warren aspect. And I am overall bullish on Kenny Pickett. He's got some sneaky. Oh, Kenny Pickett just went. Okay, I don't need to talk about his sneaky rushing upside anymore. Stafford. No real stack partners for Stafford. Obviously, could grab a last round Tutu or Pukwa, but nothing worth there. I think we go with some wide receivers. Yeah, let's grab Irv Smith. Just keep that correlation going throughout the season. Let's see. Does the first guy, he has no tight ends. So yeah, we should focus on the tight end first. We'll grab Irv. My guess is he grabs at least one, maybe even 2 tight ends here, and then we can grab our next wide receiver. He grabs Michael Mayer. He goes 1 tight end. Does he grab a second tight end here? He goes Bryce Young. He'll grab some Hayden Hurst later on, probably. DJ Chark, Michael Gallup. Let's grab Gallup and make sure it's no bye week situation. And we do have a lot of week 7 bye week. What do we have? 1, Chase, Higgins, Hopkins. So it's either that or we're reaching. I think it's still worth it to grab Michael Gallup. Nah, we're still going to grab Michael Gallup. Because even DJ Chark would have been the same bye week. And after that, you're giving up a bunch of ADP value. Hey, we have 6 wide receivers. 4 of them have bye week 7. 2 of them do not. We will probably make this an 7 or an 8 wide receiver team and make sure that our other ones do not have bye week 7. I'm thinking this is a 2 or 3 QB, 2 or 3 tight end. There's a lot of flexibility we have. This might be a 3-7-7-3. It might be a 2-7-8-3. That's probably the most likely is 2-7-8-3, and we'll grab another QB with this next pick. I think we missed out on the Purdy. Where did Purdy go? Purdy went 12-3. Holy crap. We never had a chance at getting Brock Purdy. 12-3. That is insane. He really wanted to make sure he got him for his Debo and his Ayuk. Get your guys. Get your guys. All right. We'll still play. We'll still figure something out. Okay. Looking around. So the auto drafter that we talked about, grabbed the Kenny Pickett right here. That was his 4th QB. Mole Weed has 3 QBs after starting with Trevor Lawrence. No one else has more than 2, but I have a feeling by the time it gets back to us, a lot of people will be sitting at 3 QBs. So worth us kind of grabbing. Make sure we grab at least our 2nd QB here. Looking at some kind of interesting spots. Dawson Knox going in the 13th round is quite the reach. Josh Allen team wanted to make sure he got a stack partner after missing out on Gabe Davis and Kincaid. Luke Musgrave here going in the 13th. We've seen him moving up draft boards, but all the way to the 13th is quite crazy. But as his 3rd tight end goes Goddard, Ingram, and Musgrave. Doesn't make the most sense to me for a team that's QB is Justin Fields. Maybe he had Cole Kmet in his queue, got sniped, got a little flustered, and made a rash decision. Deuce Vaughn going 14.5. That is just, I'm not even sure Deuce Vaughn is going to see the field. He's definitely not the number 2. It sounds like that's going to be Rico Dowdle. Deuce Vaughn probably sees like some gadget plays, like very, very little usage. That's some pretty craziness going in the 14th. I haven't even been drafting him in the 20th round. Okay. Sam Howell in the 14th feels a bit early, but did he stack? Yeah, he grabbed Dotson, and Sam Howell has been moving up. He's looked really good in the preseason game, so not the most shocking there. I don't hate it with the Dotson pick. Okay, coming back to us. QBs, we've got Tannehill, Mac Jones, CJ Stroud. DeAndre Hopkins is our other quarterback. I think we grabbed that. Mulleweed has 3 QBs, so we can probably wait if we want to wait and grab like Devin Singletary first. I don't love Devin Singletary, but he kind of probably gives us, he helps what we've got going with that late 0 RB team. So we got 7. We're going to go 2-7. I think 8-3 makes the most sense. Let's just hope Mole doesn't go crazy and grab Ryan Tannehill. He goes Evan Hall. Personally, Evan Hall, I think like he's probably got the most upside of the Colts backs if Jonathan Taylor is not there. I personally believe that Zach Moss is most likely in line to be the starter. Yes, he had the arm injury that'll have him out through, I think, maybe week 1, maybe week 2. But I think like he's most likely, we're grabbing Tannehill. He's the one that's most likely to actually be the primary back, the workhorse. Maybe it's like he's the rushing back, and then Deion Jackson is the pass catching back, and then Evan Hall is like the rookie that maybe is able to show something. But this is the time of year where they have their guys. Same thing with Cole Turner here. Cole Turner had back-to-back games where he showed a connection, showed a connection early on, looked really good, had a big 3rd and 15 conversion with Sam Howell last game. Starting to see a little buzz there. We know that Washington likes to use their tight ends. We know Eric Bieniemy comes from the Kansas City, what he could do with Travis Kelce. So there's a little, there's some shininess of what, you can mold Cole Turner into. They still do have Bates. They still do have Logan Thomas. So it's not like it's going to be a clear runaway. But for teams that, especially if you draft Sam Howell, I think he's a perfectly fine kind of 19th, 20th rounder tight end pick. Okay, there goes Deion Jackson, the other one I was referencing in Indy as the pass catcher. We'll see if Zach Moss even gets drafted. People have not been taking much because I think of the injury, but he's the one that I've kind of liked. Jakey V over here with 9 wide receivers, just grabs his second tight end, Hunter Henry, to go with Kyle Pitts. I don't mind that at all. Let's see. From a QBs, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 with 3, 1 with 4, and the rest with 2. Okay. So the Justin Fields guy that we're talking about that went with a 3 ended up grabbing CJ Stroud to pair with Tank Dell. Got a little stack there. Not bad. Definitely sounds like Tank Dell has a very strong connection rapport with CJ Stroud. Silva's been talking up that like, hey, Tank Dell is going to be a starter. If not, to start, probably not to start the season, but shortly after. Small guy, but can play, can get it open in space, can be a bit of a volume underneath receiver. Kind of reminds me a little of kind of Josh Downs with the Colts. Corwin asking, Burrow and Tannehill have the same bye week. Do we need a third QB? I appreciate that. Not the easiest to kind of follow that structure, but you are correct. We probably should grab another QB. Thank you, Corwin. Look at that. See, who says that streaming is negative EV? I would not have noticed that. Well, there goes Baker. You know what? No, we're going to be fine with just Burrow and Tannehill. And yeah, because we don't have any other options. Baker Mayfield just goes there. There are no more starting QBs available. And it is, in my opinion, not worth trying to grab a backup. So, yeah, that's all. That's all. We're going to be going into this season with 2 with the same bye week. Not ideal, but hopefully we can blow away the competition in all the other weeks. Okay. Let's see who's available at tight end as well. Tyler Conklin, Trey McBride, Noah Fant, Taysom. We're going to grab Devontae Parker. What bye week is Devontae? 11. Okay. Yeah, I mean, just look at all these bye week 7s we have been accumulating. That is going to be a tough week for us. Challenges because it's an early bye week. You can't even be like, well, maybe someone loses their job. Highly unlikely for it to happen before bye week 7. We're just gonna have to suck that up. Fun streaming this. Okay. We do one other. I'm gonna grab Tyler Conklin. Maybe he sees a little more action just without the Corey Davis. We have Kittle. We have Irv Smith, and just throwing on another bye week 7. What are we doing to ourselves? But I still think he's a better pick. And at least we have George Kittle by himself with so. Let's get out of the auto draft. There we go. All right. On the draft board, we are down to one more pick. We said we were probably going to go 2, 7, 8, 3. We wanted to get another wide receiver or 2 that were not that by week 7. And so we will just end this with a wide receiver that does not have a bye week 7. Let me just throw some guys in the queue and then we can make a decision. But yeah, Josh Downs is most likely going to be, may even be like the, safety blanket, higher volume underneath wide receiver for Anthony Richardson. The reports are pretty strong. He will be starting in 3 wide receiver sets. Michael Wilson's in 2 wide receiver sets. We like that. He just went. We're done with Corey Davis. I have not been drafting much Allen Robinson, but he's going to be out there on the field. And so, maybe he is able to have a resurgence out of the slot. We've seen it before with previous wide receivers who have kind of at their later part of their career had that slot resurgence. Josh Reynolds is going to get some play early on. Matt Collins as just the number 2 wide receiver. If we think through from like a Cincy or 10, nope, we don't want to buy week 7s. Never mind. We're not doing that. If we think from a bring back, it's Kansas City. Yeah, Houston, Robert Woods is already gone. Tank Dell's already gone. Mechie's already gone. We can throw Puka in there as well. What's the Quez Watkins note? Limited. Okay. I think Quez Watkins is going to be out in the field in 3 wide receiver sets. My concern is that if we had like an AJ Brown or Devontae Smith injury, that like, is it actually Quez Watkins increasing his target share, or does that just maybe, get more to Dallas Goedert? Olamide Zacchaeus ends up playing more. I don't know. Hard to kind of guess there. Jarvis Landry still not on a team. There are some teams that are kind of moving some money around. I could see like I don't know, a late average Jarvis Landry. Maybe he could go. Makes sense for him to go to the Jets with all those other dusty old guys that Rodgers likes. Throw Tutu up there as well. We really got to get Corey Davis out of here. I got to update my rankings for that. Probably more interesting to look at who else is being drafted, where there are some values. Jerome Ford going 19-12. That feels like a steal. I'm trying to get a whole bunch of Jerome Ford at his current price. Kieran Williams, same thing. He's a guy that has not been drafted much, but it's pretty clear he sat out both preseason games. Like, he's going to be the pass catching back for Matthew Stafford. We know, like, hey, ownership coaches really like him from last year. So Kieran Williams is the guy that I'm definitely targeting. Chris Evans, more and more reports are coming out that like he could be the 3rd down back there. I do have a little kind of hesitation there because Travion Williams has been hurt for most of this. And like in the earlier starts of preseason, it was looking that Travion Williams is going to be that guy. Maybe, hey, if you are hurt, then you're just not available. That lack of availability is why Chris Evans won out. If Joe Mixon were to get hurt, maybe that's where Travion actually steps in. I'm not sure. Zach Moss goes there. Let's see which wide receiver we can end this with. Robinson to Detroit. From a stack wise, there's nothing that's really that big of a helpful. We have Warren. We don't have any Seattle. We have Gallup if we wanted to go Reynolds, but I think Reynolds is probably done by that point. Let's just go Allen Robinson. I have actually no shares. Gosh, I really should have double checked that Allen Robinson wasn't by week 7. Let's see the pain. Thankfully, Allen Robinson was by week 6. Okay, good. All right. Well, thank you, Corin, for helping out. Unfortunately, I did end up with a double QB situation on the same bye week. Just didn't pay enough attention while streaming, but that's okay. A $10. We are just hopeful that we are able to slide into the playoffs. And as we said, Burrow and the double stack, the uniqueness with Waddle, heavy wide receiver with late round running backs can push us into the playoffs. Okay. This was fun. Appreciate people hanging out. I will right now, as I talked a little about it earlier, but if anyone is interested, I'm going to kind of just walk through some of the Reignmakers tools that I talked about. So if there are people that are have been playing best ball, that are interested in Reignmakers, played last year, are thinking about playing this year, our goal is just to provide you with some free tools that make that experience as seamless, as helpful, as pain-free as possible for you all. So if you're interested, head on over to otmnft.com. Then at the top, go to the Reignmakers Football tab. From there, what you can see is, so first we have the market standpoint. Any player that is out there, you can see what cards they have, what their price movement has looked like. So let's say we'll go with, let's go with Khalil Herbert, looking like that he's going to be more of the starting back this year. We can see his price has gone up a little. If you wanted to play him in a core contest, you can see where the cheapest price for him is. If you wanted to click through, it'll just take you directly to where you can make that purchase. Elsewhere, let's see, you can go to the players aspect. So here, if you're like, okay, I don't want to actually look at the full market, but I just want to kind of have a brief overview of Khalil Herbert and his price. I did Justin Herbert, his price at each tier. And so we can see, okay, for the core, it's 380, for the rare, for the elite, and so forth. Or let's say there's a showdown lineup coming up and you want to look at the entire Chicago team. I want to know all of their running backs. What I'm looking at here, you can see what those prices are, see where there might be some arbitrage opportunities, where there might be some values. You can head over to Sniper, one of my favorites here. As they actually get listed on the DraftKings site, they will populate on this and you can see where there are potential values. So go ahead and, hey, you're hanging out and you want to see maybe someone lists a Khalil Herbert and they do it pretty cheap. So I'll go back to that. We put Khalil Herbert in. And yeah, I'm looking specifically for like the core tier and we can see all the listings. Last one was 28 minutes ago. But if you keep this page up, as someone lists it, it'll refresh automatically. And then you can go make that purchase, get that snipe before other people who are watching. As you can see here in the last 50 seconds ago, someone put this Russell Wilson up. Here we go. We just got 2 new cards listed. Amon-Ra St. Brown, Cole Kmet, low serial. So if you've got some players you're on the market for and you don't love the current prices, head on over to Sniper and just kind of keep an eye out. You can make a list. You can add multiple athletes. If you want to look for A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, you put them both in and you can see as those listings start populating up. For the collection aspect, this is going to be customized directly to your collection. So once you log in, you can actually see, okay, here's what I own. Here's how my price movement. MVS, that was going up. Maybe I want to sell. Maybe I want to take advantage. But good way to just kind of keep track of what's in your wallet. And the last one, lineup builder. When it comes time to actually make your lineups, you can use this to actually, select which contest you want to go. You can create that lineup based off who you have in your wallet. You can save your lineups. You can export it and then head on over to the DraftKings site where you can import your CSV that you just downloaded. So hopefully that is helpful for anyone that is interested in playing Reignmakers or is playing Reignmakers. As I mentioned, this is all free thanks to our partnership with DraftKings. So take advantage of it. It'll be free through the entire 2023 season thanks to them. You can see down here from one of their partners on that. So we are happy to have this partnership and hopefully that helps. Okay. Everyone that watched, appreciate you. Hopefully, keep an eye out for some more drafts I'll be doing. As I mentioned earlier, I put out that new DraftKings strategy show, the DraftKings football show. If you go to any of your podcast channels, just type in Justin Herzig DraftKings and it should pop up. Subscribe to that. Appreciate the reviews on that one. And I'm not gonna. I don't think I have anything else. It's going to be the weekend pretty soon. Enjoy your weekends. 2 weeks left of best ball drafting. Best of luck. Hopefully you're not getting sniped too much, and hopefully I'll see you when we start advancing. All right. Have a great rest of your day, weekend. Later.